Space Anorak? What kind of weird and strange name is that? It's my weird and strange name. Okay, but how did you get here? What do you want? Let's just say you're not exactly advanced with your security. As for what I want, I only want to face you personally, Story Watcher. Story Watcher? Of course you don't remember. Or perhaps at least recall a memory or two from a past life, perhaps? Oh, yes. Ever since my birth, I have been told stories and legends of such. How the Story Watcher would look over and observe nearly every single possible universe and watch as the various heroes, warriors, and champions would protect their realms, their homes, and fight for what they claim to be right. Then a great conflict came between the Story Watcher and my master, Caesar, Mistress of Shadow, Princess of the Void, Goddess of Nothingness. And I'm guessing that he or I won? Yes, in a way. However, it did come at a great price. While Caesar was temporarily banished, the Story Watcher was wounded beyond comprehension. So, to heal at all, he had to split himself, his form, physically and spiritually, into various fragments, reborn and reincarnated, if you will, on this particular Earth. And you and some of your friends just so happen to be a few of those fragments, possibly the more stronger ones. And my master, Master Caesar, believes that someday, as soon as the memories recover, all the living pieces will find their way back together. And by then, the Story Watcher will be whole once more. So you want to fight me, right? I really wish to, believe me. However, I somehow now feel it'd be too quick and pointless to do so soon. Especially how you waste away your current life rambling, raving and drooling about these things that you call art. Hey, I don't ramble, I review. What difference is there? But regardless, I will leave you to carry on with this hobby of yours. But remember this, another conflict will be brewing. Not just between you, I, and my master, but also with various other champions of this world. Those that you may be familiar with. Those whose stories that you watch. Not just with yourself and your friends. And by then, we will meet again. I promise you that. Oh. I imagine I won't be seeing the last of him. Hello folks, and welcome to the Anorak Review Show with I, your host, the Anorak. And today we come to the last review of the Christmas and 2021. And today I wanted to go out with something of a bang. Also with an album that could at least be remotely related to Christmas and winter and all that. And I think I've come up with one, or at least found one that comes close. Let's talk about one of my favourite singers, Kate Bush. Born in 1958 and having begun her musical business back in the late 70s, Kate Bush has been a unique singer and songwriter, creating some beautiful, memorable songs such as Wuthering Heights and Cloud Busting, just to name a few. Her songs are diverse and catchy, her styles and mannerisms are just Kate Bush. There's not really too much words to describe how much of an interesting figure she is. But of course, she's also a bit of a perfectionist, and that could also lead to a lot of time dedicated to her work. And so, as the time went on and she made more and more albums, the time she took to make them got longer and longer as well. And so, I want to talk about possibly her most recent album to date, about 10 years ago. Yeah, that long ago did she actually make anything new. And that is 2011's 50 Words for Snow, released for about, or shall I say, 6 years after her last album of new material, 2005's Ariel, and that itself was 12 years after 1993's The Red Shoes. And of that, 50 Words of Snow was exactly her only album of 2011. Earlier that year, she released an album called Director's Cut, which mostly, if not entirely, consisted of re-recordings and reworkings of a good chunk of songs from her Red Shoes and Central World albums. But like I said, it's not exactly new original material per se, just redoings of old stuff. But I'll probably get into those another day. At this point, let's just get to the point and dig into 50 Words for Snow and finally bring this year and this jolly holiday to a close. Beginning the album is Snowflake, a sweet, calm and soothing 10-minute piano ballad that also acts as a duet between Bush herself and her son, then 13-year-old Albert McIntosh. In it, Albert sings from the point of view of, well, a snowflake, and not the ones you'd find on the internet. Emerging and then falling from a cloud, this little individual flake of snow goes to what could be described as a stream of consciousness, singing about what he's doing, like dancing and fleeting, and what it's seeing, like people and a forest, and even saying that it's midnight Christmas. There, you see? He mentioned Christmas in the lyrics, therefore it makes it a Christmas song, thus makes it relevant here. Anyways, across the track, Kate Bush comes to sing the line of "The world is so loud, keep falling, I'll find you" several times across the song,
between each and every instance of Albert's singing. Possibly from the point of view of a human looking up to catch a snowflake and kind of hearing their thoughts, or even from Mother Earth and nature itself, kind of adding to the whole mother and son kind of relationship. The vocals of Kate and Albert have this interesting contrast to them, with Albert have it being a high choir-esque voice, while Kate is much deeper and lower, yet still equally comforting and still recognizable Kate vocals. It sounds a bit like a mix between Walking in the Air with Albert's aforementioned vocals and Roads by Portishead with the ambient music. It's honestly a great starter to a great album, and a beautiful piece where both mother and son get to sing together. Next is Lake Tahoe, an 11-piece ghost story about a spirit of a Victorian woman who rises from the titular Lake Tahoe and calls out to her pet dog Snowflake. Huh. Immediately twice in a row we get a Snowflake name drop. Anyways, we never really figure out how this woman passed, aside from assuming that she may have drowned in the lake itself. The dog is pretty much left and alone after its owner's passing, especially when frail and dreaming. There's even some brief sounds of crowings partway into the song, much like in Pink Floyd's Echoes. However, by the last third, the woman and dog seem to reunite, saying that he has come home, implying that the dog eventually passed away as well, and they found their new home in paradise. And in the last few seconds or so, Kate even does a few cute wolf sounds, which I kind of like a bit. That's a cute little detail. And much like with Snowflake, it's another calm and slow piano-centric piece where quite a bit of time is taken in between the vocal bits, likely as a way to pad out the songs. Not too inherently bad, but just pointed out and all. Ultimately though, this song's about a simple yet very close kinship that transcends time, species, and even life and death themselves. After that is Misty. At 13.5 minutes, this is definitely the longest song of the album. And considering the length of the songs here so far, that's saying something. This one entails of a woman who builds a snowman one day, then the following night, that snowman comes to life, enters the woman's home, and they make love together. Yeah. Then the next morning, she finds he had melted and dissolved. At first it might seem like a mere dream and nothing more, but she quickly finds that her pillow and sheets are all soaked, as well as covered in dead leaves and branches. So, if she gets hypothermia from, making love to someone who's made out of ice, would that count as contracting an STD? Anyway, it's like if the classic animated Snowman short film was an erotic love story. Good grief, I wonder if there's ever been, a porn parody of that. But hey, Rule 34 of the internet and all. Anyways, aside from its rather romantic lyrics, to say the least, it also has a bit of a jazzier feel to it compared to the previous two tracks, with the quiet yet still noticeable percussion and the brief use of orchestral strings. It's quite an emotional, bittersweet piece of music from an artist who can do such emotional work, and has already done so in the past.